called exaggeration. And that's essentially where we can use elements of facial expression or pose and motion and extend them beyond what is realistic or completely normal or natural in real life to create something that looks more interesting or humorous. And we can use exaggerated features or poses or motions to really bring out the best in our animation and bring our characters to life. Using exaggeration in your animation doesn't mean that you necessarily need to have over-the-top poses, expressions, or movements all of the time. They're more of a garnish rather than the main course, but they can be very powerful. And the reason exaggeration is useful is that if we were to copy human motion exactly in a run cycle or walk cycle or any other motion in our animation, we would end up with something that looks pretty bland and boring. By exaggerating broad arcs of motion and expressions in moments that are very punctual, the result is more likely to be something entertaining and that flows with more interest. The reality is no human being would really walk in this fashion, but we're using our exaggerated features and pose and motion to best communicate what we're trying to display. The same goes through the course of this more intense action. We're exaggerating features, and for example, the eyes here and the open-mouthed expression and the pose being sort of all dragged back in one direction. These are ways that the character has been exaggerated to accentuate both the motion and the emotion of the scene. The animation goes on to display exaggerated character expressions throughout to help convey what is happening, how we should be feeling, and what the character is feeling. So for example, because what is actually happening in terms of the monkey being thrown violently onto the screen is so extreme, in reality that's quite a violent and shocking thing to happen. But because we're animating it all with exaggerated bounces and motions and poses, we're communicating that it's not a problem, that this is a comedic thing, and we shouldn't be worried for the monkey, even though the monkey has expressions that change from being dazed or being completely shocked and scared himself to being a little bit angry and wanting to rectify the problem and beat up whoever beat him up. So we're using these exaggerated facial expressions and body poses to help communicate. For example, in this pose, we're communicating with an arched back and tense, ready limbs with a hunched upper back and his head sort of in a lower position, that this monkey is ready to march forward, or that he's preparing to deal or confront with someone or something. This, in reality, is very exaggerated, because if someone in real life were to stand anything like this, they would look ridiculous. There might be elements of tense limbs and an arched back or hunched neck in someone's posture if they were to have the same intention. But by overplaying these things in specific moments where we're most clearly trying to communicate something, the result can be more entertaining and clearer communication. And both of these things make efficient use of our animation work and the viewer's time. Exaggeration in even simple movements such as walk or eye movements or the turning of a head can add more appeal to an animation. So rather than looking left to right, having the face move in interesting or dramatic ways in moments that add most appeal can be extremely effective to make your animation interesting and very watchable to whoever we're showing it to. Used in moderation and in the right ways, exaggeration can be one of the best ways to accentuate our animation. Thanks for watching through this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.